Good. Whenever this is, not. I'm glad I make myself laugh. Not legal advice. Like, subscribe, share. Make sure your pets get an opportunity to look at this. I'll try to make it short and sweet. I wanted to make a video about Elon Musk and his dealing with the SEC because I thought it may relate to our dealings, our being MMTLP, finger motion, GTII, Mullen, etc., and our distaste for the SEC, and maybe we could combine the two. And let me start it off this way before we move on. I recently took a poll and found out 100% of the campers were angry when their tents collapsed. Hope you got that one. Think about it. I took a poll. So I wanted to talk a little bit about Elon Musk and the SEC because Elon and Tesla have suffered to the same degree that all the tickers that we're interested in have suffered in terms of shorting, naked shorting, counterfeit shorting. Um, so I thought it was interesting, and I know that Mr. Musk has had a lot of uh, involvement with the SEC and a lot of battles. So, kind of want to start it off with this article, and I'm going to read the headline, and then I'll move on from there, and you'll kind of understand where I'm going here. Headline is Elon Musk's failure to comply with court order stunning. And then the article starts the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission has rejected Elon Musk's claims that the regulator is unfairly trying to silence him. In a filing Monday, the SEC said it was stunning and blah, 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 blah. And then I saw last week, I think October 5th, I saw an article about the SEC trying to go after Elon in federal court because he refused to testify. So the first headline I read to you about that had the word stunning in it, that is March 19th of 2019. So that's over 4 years prior to the October 5th headline where I said the SEC tries to force Musk to testify in Twitter takeover probe. The 2019 matter was about the Twitter matter, and in essence, is that the SEC is going to court to try to enforce a subpoena that the SEC issued to Musk to testify in the Twitter matter. Now, Mr. Musk has called for either the substantial revision or abolishment of the regulators. He's had a public feud with the regulators, obviously reflected by just those two articles in the ongoing four years of battles. So the SEC now in San Francisco, and by the way it was described in articles, it was misdescribed. In the articles, it described it as a complaint against uh, Musk. It's not a complaint. It's an application to enforce the administrative subpoena that was issued to Musk. Now, what's interesting about this is, so I started off with the 2019 Twitter reference. Then in 2022 and early, they began another investigation about Twitter. After they began that investigation, several months later, and after documents had been produced, and they had obviously spent a lot of time involved in the investigative process going back to 2019, they took 2 days of Mr. Musk's testimony. Then a bunch of time passed, and in April, or on or about April of 2023, they being the SEC, claimed to have received new documents. They then sought to take another day of Mr. Musk's testimony. At first, Mr. Musk's counsel apparently was compliant, did not object, and that is an issue. They may have had the ability to file something called seek a protective order, which might limit the scope or even the existence of the third round of depositions from Mr. Musk just on this Twitter aspect, but apparently they did not. There was more discussion and not a great objection, it appears, until September. And that also may coincide is it may have been spurred by a book that was written, an autobiography, I mean, a biography that was written by Mr. Isaacson about Mr. Musk. And that may have triggered that. Or Mr. Musk just got pissed. And after a while, he said, is this going to be, and this was ultimately going to be my question, is this going to be just an ongoing investigation? And anytime you find documents, you're going to come back and want to depose me, and you're not going to close this objection? And I can understand why someone might be pissed off if that's what they were facing. And there's concern by many that the administration may be targeting him as a political issue, maybe in support of the UAW or something along those lines. But it appears, if logically, there have been multiple matters over many years, they appear to continue to go after him. The Twitter example that I cited is just one example where even just in how they set up their application, that they're trying to compel his testimony when he's already testified twice. Now, again, like I said, and I'm not giving legal advice here, but his counsel may have been able to handle it differently by seeking a protective order, but they didn't. But that doesn't preclude them from now raising that new objection that it's harassing, amongst other reasons. And I think that the record might support that the government is harassing Mr. Musk, and either will disallow the deposition entirely or limit its scope very much. But apparently, for anyone to refuse to answer a SEC subpoena is very rare. So what will happen from this point in time, the SEC filed the application in federal court in San Francisco. There will be opposition filed by Mr. Musk's attorney. There'll be a reply brief filed by the SEC. Then there may be a hearing, probably will be a hearing in federal court. Doesn't have to be, but probably will be. And if Mr. Musk prevails, he doesn't have to testify anymore. If the SEC prevails, they may get an order compelling him to testify. Then they'll set a time for his testimony. If he shows up for that testimony, then that's over. If he doesn't show up, then they can get a contempt order, where they could either get a monetary fine or theoretically he could be put in jail, in local jail, for a period of time. Now, on top of those procedures, he could always appeal. So if the judge ruled against him, ordering him to testify, he could file something what is called basically an interlocutory appeal, which means that basically an appeal of an issue before the end of the case and not necessarily a deciding issue. But he could file in the appellate department for review of the decision regarding his having to testify. They don't have to consider it. They don't have to rule in his favor, but that's something he may do. That would buy time, delay things. And, he might be hoping there's another administration in office or another DOJ or another SEC chairman. And so he may just want to delay the matters. But bringing that around to where we are. So Musk has had a terrible time with the SEC, wants it abolished or substantially revised. It's his particular company, Tesla, one of his companies. Just the last 3 out of 4, at least 3 out of the last 4 months, has been the most shorted stock on the stock market. And we know over time it's been amongst the most heavily shorted, naked shorted, counterfeited security on the market. And I know that Mr. Musk is opposed to that because he stated that. And we now have a retail community that's facing a number of securities such as MMTLP, Finger, GTII, Mullen, obviously AMC, GME, and a whole litany of other securities that suffer from the same problem that Mr. Musk did of being targeted with either naked shorts or counterfeit shares. And it seems to be the perfect opportunity of matching the two causes. Since Mr. Musk and Tesla suffer from the same maladies that retail has and is suffering for, and since retail is looking for someone to lead the movement, it would seem like the perfect match for Mr. Musk to join in with retail, to go after the SEC, to attack naked shorting and seek a fair deal and fair treatment for everyone, including Mr. Musk or retail. So, Mr. Musk, we welcome you to join in. We respect your technology and your innovation. We understand the mistreatment you've received from the SEC, as we can relate to that. And it seems to be a really good match. So, we welcome you reaching out to any of us, and we would welcome you into the cause. And we think we could provide you support just as you would provide support to the retail community. Anyway, have a great evening. Hope to hear from you, Mr. Musk. Take care and be well. Have a great evening. Bye bye.